Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and today we're going to be going over the all-new 2020 Kia Stinger GT2. Yes, this is the bad boy with all-wheel drive and the twin-turbo V6. But anyways, as always, we're going to do a quick walk around on the car, then we're going to take it out to see how it drives. A huge shout out and thank you to Jerry Signer Kia for providing us with this Kia Stinger. Check out their inventory in the link below. Let's get into the video. Under the hood here, we have a 3.3 liter twin turbo V6 that goes through an 8-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 17 around town and then 25 on the highway, with power outputs being 365 horsepower and 376 foot-pounds of torque. Now let's go over things on the front end of the Stinger here. I love the venting at the top of the hood there. Definitely looks really aggressive. And then the rest of the front end is actually really good looking. I like the little LED accents that kind of come out there to the side. Notice that they do have the little sensor there that kind of matches with the rest of the grille. And then we do get parking sensors right there at the front of the bumper. But other than that, I just think it's a good looking and sporty design. Around the side here, we've got 19-inch wheels with all-season tires on it, obviously on all four corners. And if you do the all-seasons, it says it limits the top speed to 149 miles per hour because, yeah, I mean, that's really slow. But anyways, behind the snow there, you can see the little red brake caliper from Brembo, which is pretty cool to see in a car like this. Obviously, you got the venting right there. Now, is it real? But it still looks cool. I like the look of the mirror as well. And then I'm just going to back up so you guys can kind of get a full side angle here on the Stinger. Here's our key fob for the Stinger. It's got this nice leather that is all wrapped around it. It's kind of cool how like the function on it. But yeah, you've got the lock there, you've got the unlock just below, and then you've got the release for the trunk. And yeah, pretty cool. I like the little taillight indicator right there. But anyways, we're gonna open up the trunk, so we just have to hold that and then it'll automatically open up. Now, finishing things up here in the trunk space, it is a hatchback, and yeah, I mean, it's got a ton of space. Pulling this up, I guess you could use a little bit of that as storage, but yeah, I mean, just back here, it is a good amount of space, and actually it's fully automatic, so you press that, and then that will lower it down, which is not very common in cars, and it's kind of interesting. Now let's wrap things up on the rear of the Stinger here. I love the taillights. The wraparound right there is very interesting, but this actual part of the whole taillight assembly, pretty cool. Obviously it says Stinger there. Got the quad tips in the back. It does say GT as well. But here's kind of like a full view on the back of it. Coming to the rear of the Stinger, we're gonna look at the door panel back here first and foremost. We've got this really nice red leather, and it pretty much is over the whole door panel, so definitely really nice looking. Two of these speakers for the sound system, again, really nice looking. And then here are the seats in the back, which we're actually gonna step in and look at all that. So, popping in here, and step-in height's not too bad, actually. Closing the door, it's really loud outside, but it's really quiet in here. I love the vents back here. They're these cool little like circular vents. Feel really nice on the actuation. I mean, that is definitely a satisfying thing. You do get a couple little charging stations, and then back here as well, got some cup holders, and these seats are really comfortable, just like the feeling of them. I do get some cargo nets back there. And then also I forgot to mention headroom. So I'm about 5'11", and yeah, I mean, I'm comfortable headroom wise, and legroom wise, I'm good as well. Now, it does have keyless entry, one touch to lock it, and then to unlock it, just press it again. Do get blind spot monitoring on that mirror. But looking at the panel in the front here, it's identical to the one in the rear, so you still get all of that nice red leather. The only difference is the window controls right over here in this area. The door handle actually feels really nice. It does have memory seats. Again, a couple more speakers for the sound system. This trim right here definitely is a nice little look. And then we've got the adjustments for the seats. Here are the front seats. Really comfortable, really nicely bolstered. Just the bolsters themselves feel really good. And then there's the pedals, which they look very premium. And then over here, we've got the controls for like the blind spot monitoring, for example, to release the hatch, and then the lane departure assistance. And then finally, the steering wheel is going to be automatically adjustable. To start it up, just put it in front of the brake, push start. It'll do the little system check thing, and yeah, everything will come to life. And again, it's telling me snow and ice, and I don't believe there's any snow or ice outside, sorry. Here is the steering wheel in the Stinger. I really like the look of it. The flat bottom design is definitely nice. Obviously, you'll know that you're driving the Bad Boy GT trim just by that. I got the controls for the adaptive cruise control on this side. little pages button on the other side. And then this is for like your phone controls, controls for the volume, all that kind of stuff. You get these nice paddles on the back of the steering wheel. And then nice little perforations on the leather with the contrasted stitching on the inside of it. That's your control for the light stock, and then that's your control for the windshield wiper. Now we've got our RPMs on the left side. On the right side, you've got the speed, and then there's a bunch of different screens to scroll through just to give you different bits of information on it. It's just like all of the other upgraded Kias. Here is the center touchscreen. Now we're gonna put it into reverse so we can see the backup camera system. It's really nice. Get the regular little backup camera, bird's eye view on top of that. But then there's a couple different views to go through, basically just to give you every single angle on the car, just to make parking a whole lot easier in the Stinger. I'm gonna press a couple buttons for the rest of the infotainment system just so all of you can see response time on it. We do get Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. Go to like the nav menu, for example. Yeah, I mean, the response time on it is pretty good. And by the way, when I started up the car, it is low on fuel. It did tell me, hey, do you want to find a gas station? So yeah, I think it's a good infotainment system. Works pretty well. It's pretty intuitive, and there are a bunch of analog buttons for it, but I'll show those to you guys in a moment. This is the most interesting vent assortment. Again, these vents feel really nice, just like the actuation, especially that's just very satisfying. But yeah, it's interesting that there's just like 3 of them. Anyways, analog controls for the infotainment system are in this little area right here, and then it does have a dual zone climate here up front, so the controls are going to be right there to basically go through all of that stuff. And then we do get the little charging ports right here. Couple cup holders. We're going to get into this shifter setup in a moment, and then also the drive modes in a moment. Down here we have our heated and ventilated seats, and it's pretty cool that it's the same button for both of them. Obviously, you got the orange for heated, and then you got the blue for cooled. You can literally switch between the two just like that, which is pretty neat. The buttons definitely feel really nice. That's for your heated steering wheel, parking sensors, and then this is just the view for the camera system itself, auto stop start. Finally, you've got this big center console, so you can see the storage space right there. Top of it definitely feels really nice. And then here is the glove box lined with felt. Now this is definitely an interesting setup. So you have to push this button in, and then like that's reverse. You got neutral in the middle, and then you got drive at the end, and then when you want it in park, just press that and it puts it back into park. Takes a second to get used to, but once you do get used to it, it's pretty intuitive. Got the little parking brake right here, stability control, auto hold, and then here's the drive modes, which those are gonna pop up in the little screen right here. So there's a couple different drive modes. There's Smart, Eco, Comfort, Sport, and then Custom. Obviously custom is whatever you put it. But yeah, it doesn't change anything with the gauges. Obviously it just changes how the car drives. Now we've got the little sunglass holder up here, and then we've got a couple controls for the lights. It does have a little sunroof, and it's cool that it's just a shade like that. Now I'm not gonna open up the sunroof because yeah, it's in the middle of winter and it's never good to do that. But yeah, it's an automatic shade even though it's a smaller size sunroof, and the headliner is black, which matches the darker interior, and then obviously the red accenting down here, which looks really nice. I just wanted to wrap things up with the interior by just mentioning the fit and finish on this is really nice, and just how they have done it design-wise is really nice. And then also, does have a heads-up display. Hopefully you can see that on camera, but that's why I usually don't show heads-up displays, because they're kind of hard to see. But anyways, let's talk about pricing. So this particular Kia Stinger and the GT2 package stickers for about $54,000 for any type of market adjustment, which obviously that puts this in territory with some cars like BMW and Audi and all that, but it's a much bigger car compared to the BMW and Audis that are in this same price segment. And I mean, this thing's quick. I've driven the 2018, so we'll see if this 2020 drives any differently. That being said, let's take it out. Well, we are about to set off here on the Stinger, and hopefully I have a little bit of better luck this time, because the last review I just filmed, one of my GoPros fell off and just completely exploded pretty much. So let's hope this goes a little bit better. Anyways, visibility over the hood is actually pretty good. It's a long hood, but it's easy to see out of. Visibility through both of the mirrors is easy as well, and then throughout all of the rear, I mean, it's got a bunch of very large windows, so it is easy to see all around in the Stinger. And well, let's set off now. And you can see the camera system popped on as soon as I put it in drive with the front camera, obviously to make getting out of parking spaces, parking lots, all that kind of stuff a whole lot easier. But yeah, anyways, initially setting off, Stinger's really smooth. Like, this is really smooth, and going over this bump, we'll see if it upsets it. Yeah, no, doesn't really upset it. I mean, I'm very pleasantly surprised. I know this is supposed to be kind of like a GT car that's a little bit sportier, and so far definitely fits the bill. Now that we're a little bit further along on the road, let's talk more about the ride quality. So yeah, I mean, just driving around, and I can put it into the smart setting, or sorry, no, the comfort setting. Yeah, I mean, it definitely functions very well as a GT car. Just super comfortable, really good ride quality. And well, we are going to put it into sport mode, and the bolsters actually just tightened up once I put it in sport mode. That is very interesting. Like, the bolsters themselves just kind of got a little bit tighter around me, obviously to hold me in place a little bit better. But let's get our acceleration here. Wow, that's quick. And it shifts through the gears very quickly. Now, just putting it back in comfort mode, it released the bolsters, and yeah, it just goes back to being a comfortable GT car. But the acceleration, wow. I mean, I know twin turbo V6, it's going to be quick in a car of this size, but yeah, I was not expecting it to be that quick like that. I am very, very pleasantly surprised with this Stinger GT2 so far. I mean, yeah, it really is a sports car. That's crazy. But yeah, taking a few turns here, I think the steering wheel is a perfect size for the car itself. The steering is pretty direct. I mean, yeah, there's just a very slight amount of play, but it's relatively direct from a steering standpoint. But the steering is also pretty light, so definitely like a comfortable steering rack. And I'm gonna put it back into sport mode, not for acceleration, but just to see if the steering changes at all. I mean, it feels pretty much about the same, I would say. I'm not really noticing any differences with the steering itself and the sport mode. Just notice that the gear shifts get quicker, bolsters tighten around me. Yeah, this is actually a really cool car. I am surprised. I mean, I haven't been in one of these for about 2 years, and I forgot how nice these actually are. And while we're waiting here, I just want to sum things up here on the Stinger. If you're looking for a comfortable GT car, something you can drive in conditions like this because it has all-wheel drive, something that's quick, obviously sporty, just pretty much covers all of the bases, then this GT2 is definitely a great option to go for. I mean, it has pretty much everything, which is really nice. I mean, it ticks all the boxes, especially if you can't buy, right, a comfortable car and a sports car and a winter car. I mean, this like combines everything in one. And so yeah, $50,000 might seem like a lot for a Kia, but for this Stinger GT2, I definitely think it's worth it. And there we have it, everyone, the all-new 2020 Kia Stinger GT2. And again, a huge shout out and thank you to Jerry Steiner Kia for providing us with the Stinger. If you're in the market for a new Kia, definitely check out their inventory in the link below. If you're stopping for the first time, please subscribe. I will see all of you in that next video.